Well, it's Professor Beacom here with my whiteboard, and I'll get to that later, but for now I want to tell you what the word of the day is on the Moves News. The word of the day is sebone, spine. And sebone is the Japanese word for spine. And interestingly, actually, the most number of my subscribers are from the United States, second is Canada, and third is Japan. So lots of Japanese people watch my videos. Konnichiwa. Irashaimase. Welcome to the Moves News. So spine. The spine is composed of vertebrae. Yeah, we have the cervical spine, which is the neck, and there are 7 vertebrae in the neck. And cervix actually means neck. It's a narrowing where your food and your lungs, you use your lungs to breathe, and at that narrowing where the food and the oxygen and the carbon dioxide passes through there is the cervix. And it's also a word that's used in female reproductive anatomy. But your cervical spine is composed of those 7 vertebrae. And head, thorax, and abdomen are the 3 parts of an insect. Thorax, chest, part of your body. In the thoracic region of your spine, you have 12 vertebrae. Yeah, I know I'm using different pronunciations of the plural of vertebra. 1 vertebra, 2 vertebrae, vertebrae. Yeah, well, the original Latin, I think, is vertebrae, but that diphthong, I, vertebrae. But, in English and in languages tend to drift all over the place, and so many people say vertebrae or vertebrae. And those 12 vertebrae of your thorax are connected to your ribs. Each one of your ribs is connected to the thoracic spine. And your lumbar is farther down, I think 5 or so lumbar vertebrae in your lower back. And then we have fused vertebrae that comprise the sacrum. SI joint, sacroiliac joint, connects your sacrum, which is the 5 vertebrae that fuse in the shape of a triangle, and they connect through soft tissues and cartilage and this and that to your hips. Ilio means hip, SI joint, sacroiliac joint. Yeah, and then we have the tailbone, those 4 vertebrae that also fuse together and comprise the coccyx, tailbone, coccygeal vertebrae. Yeah, so I guess when we're born, all of those vertebrae are sort of separate, mobile kind of like joints in our spine, in our back. And in time, yeah, we get stability from the fusing of those vertebrae and the the sacrum and the coccyx back there. But we want to have, and the spine is does give the body stability, of course, you know, but it also there's a little bit of a dichotomy between stability and mobility, and our spine is also quite mobile, right? We can have sideways mobility. The sideways bend of the spine is referred to as scoliosis. And some people have curves in their spine which are not the best for general posture. They're kind of a weakness and a distortion of the spine. But we want to be able to move sideways in our spine, certainly for artistic expression as dancers, as figure skaters. And we also want to be able to move forward to round our spine. That type of rounding of the spine that way is referred to as lordosis. And arching of the spine is kyphosis. The proper spinal posture has, you know, a little bit of lordosis in the upper back and a little bit of kyphosis in the neck, and a little bit of kyphosis in the arch in the lower back. But you know, if we get excessive, many people have, of course, excessive lordosis in the lower back where the pelvis is tipped too far forward. I know I was alerted to this problem several years ago, and I've kind of corrected it so that now I have a more understanding of what a good athletic biomechanical posture is. But those who have their hips generally too far forward like this position, they tend to compensate by also having lordosis in the neck, so head falling forward. I'm kind of exaggerating. This can kind of happen. So yeah, and actually most people nowadays have their neck too much forward. It's kind of a succumbing to gravity in a way, but it's also a result of the position that we spend the most time in, which you know, we're spending so much time now on our devices, and many of us sleep with a pillow under our head. If we sleep on our back, we sleep with a pillow under our head, or even if we're sleeping in sort of a fetal position, we have our head forward when we're sleeping. So, we can correct our posture just by thinking about it, right? I can try to attain good spinal posture just by thinking about it. But if I happen to have tight muscles that cause my head to be sort of in a forward state, then just thinking about it is an effort, more of an effort than it needs to be. So one of the ways that we can improve our posture is by addressing tight muscles. I do have this this roller, which is designed for the spine. You lie down on it, on your back, and you roll. Yeah, it's very good for loosening up the muscles in the spine. Just an ordinary foam roller you can use also. Lie on your back on a foam roller. Feels really good. Relax your back. I often get a few little chiropractic cracks when I do that. So, yeah, it's also by strengthening the muscles in our body, we can get better posture and stability in our spine, all the while maintaining good mobility. Those who have not so strong ab muscles tend to have a little bit too much kyphosis in the lower back. So having that strength and awareness in that part of the body, which is quite important, especially in sports, to maintain, strength and stability in the core there. So we can also do, of course, mobility exercises to reduce the chance that we're going to have some of these vertebrae fuse that we don't want to fuse. Many people have vertebrae in their neck that are fused. They can't, they can't really move their neck as fully as what is intended. And so it's it's a little bit of a use it or lose it phenomenon. And so now is probably a good time for me to introduce the exercise of the day, which is this spinal mobility exercise. Sebone no undo desu. Now, it might look to you like I'm moving my shoulders, and my shoulders are moving through space, but my shoulders are actually not moving my shoulder joints are not moving when I do that exercise. This is shoulder motion here, right? My spine's not moving. I'm moving my shoulders, joints. And so that's different. And also actually my hips are not moving significantly either when I do this exercise, right? Legs and hips not moving. They're facing the camera and they stay there. And so I'm keeping my shoulders immobile and I'm twisting my spine, and I can even get the neck involved in this exercise. I do that every day, for sure, at least once a day. And I have pretty good mobility in my spine, and in my neck too. Of course, the spine moves as those ways that I described: the kyphosis, the lordosis, the scoliosis. It moves in all different ways that way, and it also moves in those joints twist relative to one another. So, yeah, the spine is like, what do we have? 33 or so vertebrae. And some of them become fused, like I said before, the lumbar and the sacrum and the coccyx. But we don't want the neck to become fused, so we want to do some kind of exercises for the neck and also the spine. We want to maintain mobility, and even if those vertebrae don't become fused, we can have limited motion of them. We want to maintain full motion of the spine, which involves not only the spine itself, but also the soft tissues of your body too. And this is a very important exercise for figure skaters, a very important exercise for figures. It's not just important for golfers or tennis players to be able to move your spine. It's also very, very important for figure skaters because we do difficult turns. We do brackets, rockers, counters, even Choctaws, If we do choctaw, back and forth, we have to get that spine moving to do that as best we can. And certainly if you're going to do a good bracket, you got to start with your spine all the way twisted in one direction, and then the bracket, when you finish the bracket, it's all the way twisted in the other direction. And the more you can twist your spine, like let's say 180 degrees. So if I keep my hips facing the camera, and if I can twist my shoulders so that they're 90 degrees to my hips, that's a 180 degree twistability of the spine. And that's good. It's one of the reasons why I have such good brackets, counters, and rockers. One of the reasons. Yeah, and we can do those ballistic exercises for the spine. We can also do some kind of static. I just heard a little, I was doing the ballistic exercises, even though I did those, when I do this static exercise where I'm twisting the spine, I heard a little bit of a crack there. So this is another type of spinal exercise you can do, and I can, while I'm in that, I can add another element to it, right? I can add some kind of, while I've got the twist, I'm also maybe adding a little bend in various different ways. While I'm twisting, I'm also bending to get a really full and thorough stretch of that spine. Yeah. Well, while you're watching or listening this video, you can do these exercises, right? Can you do these exercises and watch and listen all at the same time? Yeah, it's no big deal to press pause either. Press pause on the camera and do a few spinal exercises. Not going to hurt you. Just the opposite. Yeah, I'm teaching and inspiring, hopefully. That's what I'm trying to do here. So that's an arc. It's a segment of a circle. And I don't know, maybe it has almost the same radius as the rocker of a skate blade. maybe not quite. But anyways, we can do a 3 turn on that circle. And a proper 3 turn is symmetrical. So it's the same. If I look from this angle here, I can see it's the same on both sides, right? My 3 turn isn't the same on both sides. I tried to make it symmetrical, but I actually have a little bit more curve on the first side, and then it's a little less if I look on the second side. And actually, most of us, we have this tendency to do much too much curve on the first side and then straight on the second side. This is our tendency. And when we skated figures, the judges looked at this and they gave us less points if we did that. And so we struggled to figure out ways of counteracting that tendency. So we thought of trying to make it go straighter in, and then really curvy on the second side. So in other words, not pre-rotating, not kind of like holding back on the rotation to get a nice symmetrical turn, whether it was a bracket, counter, rocker, whatever. You can curve too much on the first side and come out and make this shortcut on the second side. It's kind of ironic that an over-rotated turn, this is over-rotated, it's the axis is kind of facing this way, is actually a shortcut. So more is less. More rotation, less distance. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And this is if you're still with me, you know, maybe you're thinking, well, okay, yeah, we don't do figures anymore, so what are you talking about? You're just wasting my time. No. Because if you over-rotate your turns, your 3 turns leading into your jumps, you're going to over-rotate the takeoff of your jump, and it's going to lead to an under-rotated landing, typically. So if you want to get the easiest rotation and the most beautiful jump, even as far as your position and posture and everything, you'll do correct symmetrical 3 turns. Symmetry is beauty, and symmetry is also good technique. And so we want to try to strive for symmetrical 3 turns leading into our jumps. You can look on the ice and see your 3 turn leading into your flip jump or toe loop or whatever it is, and you can check and see what the pattern looks like on the ice, and you can see whether it's symmetrical or not. And if it's not, try to get it symmetrical and then see how that affects your jump. You'll notice that your jump improves if you improve the quality of the turns that lead into that jump. Yeah, so another irony, actually, you know, like I'm sort of a hardcore figure skating person. I'm from the figure skating generation, and I'm really into skating on 1 foot at a time, which is part of the definition of our sport. We skate on 1 foot at a time, and we skate almost always on curves. That's kind of like the essence, definition, and the beauty of our sport. And it makes our technique so much better if we learn how to skate on 1 foot and on curves. And the thing is there's 2 ways of doing a 3 turn, and or actually there's 3 fundamental ways of doing a 3 turn. One is to as I've shown before on my videos on the ice, you can, as you step onto your right outside edge, you can put some rotation into your body. So, and then the turn just happens because of the momentum of that rotation. The momentum of those helicopter rotors going around and around, that has rotational momentum in it. And if I'm on 1 foot, I can use that rotation to set up my jump, and that rotational momentum helps to give me rotation in my jump. And that's the method I recommend for jumping, actually, because if you don't have that type of rotational momentum, you have to rely on some other way of generating your rotation in your jump. Well, in addition to the depth of the edge, that's kind of a separate thing. But many skaters now, they do their turns more the way we did them in figures. In figures, the edges leading into the turns and especially coming out of the turns had to be sustainable. We had to check the rotation coming out of the turn, because we do the 3 turn, we have to hold it for half a circle back to the center. So we can't continue rotating. We got to check that rotation, stop that rotation. So the way we do turns in figures is we rotate our spine and we set up the turn already with a twist in our spine, and then we quickly change the twist in our spine to do the turn, and then we sustain that. So even though I'm from the figure generation, that's not the way I do use my jump technique. And the third way of doing turns is some combination of those two, which is what many skaters do actually, probably without even thinking about it too much. Although, you know, yeah, many coaches and skaters advocate this checking of motion of the arms going into jumps. And so then you have a sustainable edge, really. If you do your turn this way, it doesn't have rotational momentum, really. And so now you have to generate your rotation in some other way, and you do it by when you're on 2 feet. If you put your toe pick in the ice, or if you take off your salchow on 2 feet, or if you take off your loop jump on 2 feet. Many skaters take off their jumps on 2 feet, except axles. There's no way to take off an axle on 2 feet, which is why many skaters who use these sorts of techniques struggle with axle type jumps. Yeah, while you're briefly on 2 feet, and skaters are often on those 2 feet longer than they should be. They turn on the toe pick, and while they're got that leverage, the 2 feet contacting the ice, then they twist their arms, which frankly is kind of a little bit of a method that I use, and you kind of have to use a little bit of that method on Lutzes. But it results in, you know, I've made other videos on, it tends to result in strained technique. You need pinpoint accuracy to make it work. You need lots of repetition. It's hard on the body. You get into bad positions with the hips back on the landing, and the free leg in rappy positions. So it's really inferior technique. Yeah, and yeah, so that's a little bit of a delving into the spine and how it helps us and how it's applied to figure skating in a few different ways. And of course, our posture is can be influenced by how our feet contact the sole of our boot or the sole of our shoe, or in my case today, walking in bare feet. Yeah, if you have good use of your feet and you have good, you know, strength and musculature and form of your feet, if your arches are well formed and they act properly, then you're more likely going to have good posture and biomechanics in your body. But actually, most of us in this urban lifestyle of ours have weak, you know, main arches or metatarsal arches in our feet. And so, you know, we've got flat or collapsed feet. And it results in, you know, like, you know, pronation and knees falling in, and which it's a chain reaction that goes all the way up the body and even into the neck. Some people who have, like when I had, before I learned about these sorts of things, carried a lot of tension in my neck, and I had my neck forward, and even had, you know, jaw problems and things like this. And so addressing your contact of the ground through your awareness of how you use your feet, and also by using figure skating insoles, from the Skate Insole Company, or shoe insoles. From the Tokyo Insole Company, will really help your overall posture, biomechanics, pain reduction, and your performance. So that's it for today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I know I will. And I'll look forward to seeing you again in the future. Bye.